Concerning the 15 and 30 degree perceptions for CTE Pro 1, I want to give you just a little bit of information here at the start of this video, and then we're going to come back to it toward the latter part of the video. We know that in the quarter system, when you butt the cue ball up with the object ball with a 3/4 ball overlap, you have the center of the cue ball at the right quarter. So I've set this up as a left cut from my perspective. Well, we're going to call that a 14-degree angle. Now, if I take the cue ball and move it slightly to my right, now we're losing that 14-degree angle and it's changing into a 15-degree angle. In other words, the center of the cue ball has leaked out. Let's just call it one good tick to the right of that quarter stripe on this old Centennial ball. So when you separate the balls and visually you see the center of the cue ball as a perception just past this right stripe by one tick, you could call that, or we call that, a 15-degree perception. Now, the 30-degree perception is much easier to understand because it's basically that half ball overlap. We have the center of the cue ball at the edge of the object ball on this left setup here, left cut perspective setup, and then the edge of the cue ball is at the core. So that's a 30-degree angle. Now when we separate the cue ball and the object ball, if the eyes pick up the center of the cue ball to this outer edge here, for this left cut in this instance, we could call that a 30-degree perception. Now, we're going to come back to that shortly. I want to very briefly discuss the 4 stages of center to edge aiming. Number 1 is the half tip manual pivoting, the very strict technique that you use when you're first learning the 15 and the 30 and the 45 and the 60 and even the 7/8 overlap. It's those perceptions when followed by that half tip pivot from one direction or the other, inside or outside, that connects with these pockets. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to work this stage and to become as proficient as possible with it. And then you're going to move into the Pro 1 phase, and I really encourage you to go through the Pro 1 phase for a length of time that will allow you to understand what is occurring with the right and left visual sweeps. Because when you get to the final phase, or when you get into even the 3rd phase, you're going to be using the physical movements, the left and right physical movements that will allow you to visually sweep properly into your half-tip pre-pivot positions. Now, you know, it's possible that a person could learn manual CTE and jump all the way into full circle CTE, but I really don't recommend that, even though it could be done. But I think it's important to have as comprehensive of an understanding of CTE as possible in order to be able to derive the most benefit from the system. So all I can do is teach you the stages that I have gone through. Now, when we get to full circle CTE, I can know the visuals here at ball address, but I have said that the visuals can also be known in full stance. Well, how can that be? How can you know the visuals in full stance when this cue ball is just right up in your face and it's the size of a moon, so to speak? Well, let's take this 30-degree cut to this corner pocket. So I know that I'm going into a 30 inside here to connect with that pocket. So from this position, I'm actually going to do a right sweep into the half-tip position. So now what's important is that I'm going to tweak this to make it perfect. how do I tweak it to make it perfect? How do I slide into that perfect perception? So when I sweep right into this half tip position, I'm not perfect at this point. But once I dial in that center of the cue ball over to the edge of the object ball, the outside edge of the object ball, then I pivot to center and I'm perfectly set up for connection to that pocket. Now, there's some important things happening here. When I drop into this half tip inside 30 setup here, I'm looking 100% down my cue. But I'm taking my eyes across the top of the cue ball and I'm making that centered edge perception perfect. Then when I pivot to dead center, there's the shot. Let's take this 15 from the outside. I just described to you at the first of the video that if you perceive the center of the cue ball to one tick outside of that quarter, then you've moved into that 15-degree perception. So that's what we're going to do here. I know from my training that this is a 15 from the outside. So I'm going to do a left sweep. See, I'm behind the cue ball here. So this is sort of in my way here. So I'm going to do a left sweep right into my half tip position. Now, is this perfect yet? No. What's going to make it perfect? When I can see the top of the cue ball, one tick past that quarter, there's the perfect 15-degree perception. Now, I can take this 15 from the inside. I've got a couple of options with it. So I'm going to do a right sweep on this one. Now, I'm going to make this perfect. How do I make it perfect? From the half tip inside, I'm going to pick up the center of the cue ball to one tick, past that quarter, pivot to center, and there's my shot. Now if I want to take this 15 from the inside and interchange it with the 30 outside, then I can do a CTE perception on this one as well. So there's my 15 from the inside. So I'm going to come in from the outside. So right here, see, I'm going to do a left sweep right into my half tip position. See that left sweep right into the half tip. Okay, I'm going to go to the 30. Now I'm going to dial it in perfectly, center to edge. So the information that I'm giving you here is probably the most potent layer of perceptual information that's come down the pipe in a long time. So I've got a couple of videos out. I've got a lot of YouTube videos out, but I would term this bit of information as the mother lode for CTE. I'm putting a book together. I'm putting together thousands of hours of work all into one work. But I'm not saving things for later. When I understand something and I have information that I think can be of value to you as a student of Center to Edge aiming, whether you have my material or not, I'm going to pass it along to you. What I've given you here is hugely important. What I've given you here highlights the fact that the visuals can be known in full stance. You see the 15 and the 30 make every shot on the table. And when you get down, you're looking at a perception of center to just a tick past the quarter, or you're looking at a perception of center to the edge. And I do want to highlight one more time, and I can't highlight this enough. Center to edge aiming allows you to get your eyes in the perfect position. The system does this for connecting with the table. Now, this first step here on this 15 and outside, I'm just going to sweep right into my half tip pre-pivot position here. Now, what am I doing? I'm looking 100% down this cue. Now, this is not going to be perfect though until I get the center to that tick right past that quarter. Now, when I turn this cue to center, now I'm looking across the cue. I'm not looking straight down that cue. It's very possible that many players out there, and I'm confident they are, they're not looking 100% down their cue. They're looking slightly across the cue. That's what the eyes and the body are wanting to do to connect with this table. So if you're looking 100% down your cue through center cue ball, then you're in a guesswork mode. But if you're looking at this 30 right here from the inside, and I go a half a tip to the inside, and then I perceive center to edge, turn to center. That's as objective as it's going to get. You're working with the objective aspects of the cue ball and the object ball systematically to connect with the pockets of a regulation table. Thank you.